In less than a month's time, world leaders, tech billionaires, and civil society representatives will be gathering here in Paris to hash out a declaration on the future of artificial intelligence. Now, the biggest question being how to make it safe. And for more on this, I'm joined now by our technology editor, Peter O'Brien, and Chloe Touzé, who is the head of policy at the nonprofit SaferAI. So, Peter, you've been kind of pouring through this organization's work.
Yeah, that's right. Since you guys released your rating of frontier AI companies' risk management practices, and frontier AI being that latest generation of very capable, very powerful AI models like OpenAI's ChatGPT, I've been looking for those at those ratings, wanting to ask you about them. It seems like across the board, these companies are not doing so well at their risk assessments.
Indeed. Thanks, Peter, and thanks for having me here. So we released those ratings in October, looking at 6 of the leading companies. And the way that we did this was we went and looked at the way that other industries are, in fact, doing risk management, because this isn't a new field, and we've been managing risks for a long time. And on that basis, looked at how those AI labs are doing. And as you said, unfortunately, the main message out of our work is that nobody in the industry is currently up to standards when it comes to sound AI risk management. Now, having said that, there are 2 tiers, 2 groups of companies. In a first group are Anthropic's OpenAI and Google DeepMind, who we classified as having weak risk management practices. They have put out some policies and published some policies already. Some of the elements that are necessary for sound risk management practices are there, but there's many gaps as well. And then there's a second group of companies with Meta, XAI, and Mistral, who have non-existent to very weak risk management policies, and they have barely published anything on what they're doing to concretely make sure that the AI they develop is developed in a safe way.
Just to give our viewers a bit of context about SaferAI, your funding, it says on your website, comes from Jan Tallon, who's the founder of Skype, and also from something called the Founders Pledge. These are 2 well-known, one well-known figure, one well-known organization within the effective altruism movement that's very concerned with how artificial intelligence, as they see it, might bring an end to humanity as we know it. Is this one of the driving reasons behind SaferAI's work?
So one thing that I'm particularly very proud of and very convinced in our approach to this is that the risk management approach is very much of a risk agnostic, if you want, approach. So it's a tool, a way to take as seriously all of the many areas of risks that are attached to AI. So risks linked to bias and discriminations, risks linked to misuse, political manipulation, the use of AI to conduct cyber attacks, and some of the risks that you mentioned, which are linked to loss of control and AI becoming so powerful that we don't really know how to handle it anymore. The good thing about risk management as an approach is that it's just a technique. It's a series of steps, of checkpoints, of if-then statement. If I witness this result in my evaluation, I will put this mitigation practice in place. And that's a way to address all of the risks. So I wouldn't say that we're driven by one type of risk more than the other. This is really a way to look at all of them, and also to not try and reinvent the wheel here, to really try to leverage lessons from what has been done, as I said, in many other industries. There's routinely risk management practices in aviation, in nuclear, in the drug industry, in the finance industry. And while AI indeed is a new technology, it's a new and complex technology. Very often we call it a black box technology. Well, AI risk management doesn't have to be such a black box, in fact. There's many things we can learn from what we do already in other industries.
We saw there your page on Mistral AI. This is one that definitely jumped out to me, being in France, being a French citizen, knowing that the AI summit is coming up. Mistral is, of course, France's big hope for a kind of champion of AI. They did particularly badly. Why is that?
So it was particularly important to us to base our ratings on publicly available documentations. There's various reasons for that. The first one is that we do believe that accountability to the public is particularly key with a transformative technology such as AI. The second one is that we don't want third-party readers, we don't want you, Peter, to have to kind of trust us for our word. We want you to be able to verify what we're saying and what we're basing our judgment and our ratings on. So we rely on publicly available documentations, the policies companies publish, but also their research, their technical documentation. We look at their blogs. We look at everything potentially that could inform these ratings. And the truth is that Mistral has very little available. The only thing that we could use was their news section on their website. And so in this news section, we were able to learn that they have indeed conducted some work on risk identification, in particular looking at whether the model have a risk of bias or not, basically. But that's the only thing we could find. So we have 3 dimensions that we rate companies on, and on the 2 other ones, they didn't have much to show. So that's why.
And briefly, the other end of the scale, you've got Anthropic, which is seen as the company that's more cozy with governments and regulators, doing more to try and impress them, if you will. Why have they done better but still have a weak rating on your scale?
Yeah, so they have a weak rating and they've even been downgraded. They had a higher rating in our initial version, and then they changed their policies in October, and so we had to reevaluate them, and that ended up with them being downgraded. They changed their policy from one which had verifiable statement in terms of the capabilities threshold for their models and the associated mitigation measures that they were going to implement, so the if-then statement I was talking about. And they went from one that was quantitatively defined to one that is very qualitative and vaguer, and so harder to actually verify. So that's why. And then they're also missing, like many of the others, a clear statement on their risk tolerance. So how much risk are they willing to take and are they effectively taking to develop their technology? And that is a crucial part of a good risk management system. There's other things, but I could go in details, and there's more detail on the website.
Chloe, have you faced any pushback or any other feedback from the companies in question?
So we have asked for the feedback, because I should say we're not trying to just do name and shame here. We're really keen to push the whole field forward to try and help them have a clear roadmap of where they need to make improvements. So we've reached out to them ahead of publishing, and we didn't hear anything. So no pushback and no feedback either.
And with the AI Summit coming up next month, perhaps I can ask for some of your brief predictions. You know, are we going to be entering more global cooperation or less when it comes to AI oversight?
That's a good question, and that's kind of a $1 million question here. What I can say is that there's a clear shift in the focus of the summit. We're going from, this is the 3rd summit in a series. The previous 2 were called AI Safety Summits. This one is the AI Action Summit with a broader focus, so less only focused on safety. That said, at SaferAI, we're particularly excited about another pillar in the summit, which is the pillar on public interest AI, because we do believe that AI safety and AI in the public interest are kind of 2 sides of the same question, which is how do we reap the benefits while avoiding the harms of AI. So we're really excited to see what comes under this pillar.
Yeah, and I'll be there to make sure it's a success, or at least I'll be seeing what the outcome is for us here at France 24. Erin, thanks, Chloe.
Well,